I would just urge people to say like, hey, step back a second and say, is your product as awesome as it could be? Probably not. What could you do to make it great? And if you like think about innovation, like maybe it has to be like breakthrough innovation. I don't think it necessarily has to be breakthrough innovation. It's just just make your product better. This is the thing that really matters. Think about like war. It's like, you want the general in some ivory tower or on the front lines? Like the troops are gonna fight a lot harder if they see the general on the front lines than if they think generals, in some cushy situation. So it's like nobody bleeds for the prince in the palace. Get out there on the goddamn front lines and show them that you care and that you're not just in some plush office somewhere.
Hey, I'm Stephen and this is Solving the Money Problem. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. So in this video, I'm reacting to some clips of a recent interview Elon Musk did with the Wall Street Journal, link in description to the full interview, in which he discusses innovation, leadership, product focused, and discusses his biggest mistakes. So let's get into the video. But first, hey guys, if you live in the US and you'd like to help out the channel and get up to 4 free stocks, check out the link in the description to WeBull. If you open a new account, you'll get 2 free stocks between $2.50 and $250 each just for opening an account. And if you deposit $100, you'll get a further 2 free stocks valued between $8 and $1,600 each. That is an obnoxiously good return on your investment. I mean, really, deposit $100 and you'll end up with, at minimum, $21 worth of stocks, a 21% ROI on your money. And if you're in Australia, the UK, or New Zealand, you can get a free stock with stake also using the link in the description. Let's get back to it.
I think there's innovation, but then there's also just our CEOs in corporate America focus enough on product improvement? And I think the answer is no. And I think generally my advice or my recommendation would really be spend less time on finance, spend less time in conference rooms, less time on PowerPoint, and more time just trying to make your product as amazing as possible.
Now, this is great advice from Elon. You would kind of think this is obvious and self-explanatory, but apparently not. And this doesn't just apply to people running companies, but also some of the genius investors who, without ever experiencing a Tesla vehicle, decided to share their brilliant, insightful, and highly reputable opinions on Tesla's stock, aka don't invest in this company, it's overvalued, the competition is coming, blah, blah, blah. Slow clap for those who failed to understand how important the quality of the actual product is.
I think there might be too many MBAs running companies. There's the MBAization of America, which I think is maybe not that great. There should be more focus on the product, the service itself, less time on board meetings, less time on financials. The financials come as a result. Like you say, like what's the point of a company at all? And why even have companies? It's like a company is an assembly of people gathered together to create a product or service and deliver that product or service. And sometimes people lose sight of that. A company has no value in and of itself. It only has value to the degree that it is an effective allocator of resources to create goods and services that are of greater value than the cost of the inputs. This thing we call profit is should just mean over time that the value of the output is worth more than the inputs.
Now, I mean no disrespect to those of you who do have MBAs. You're free to spend and or waste your time and money as you see fit. But my personal experience has been, in life, generally speaking, the people that I know who've built the most successful businesses don't have any business background, they don't have an MBA, they just have common sense, a brain, determination, ambitious drive, and focus. Now, there's no question there's some utility, useful information within an MBA, but I'm of the mindset that I'd much rather gain 4 years of experience running businesses, failing, dusting myself off, trying again, learning, and keyword there, gaining real life experience in business, versus spending that same time getting an MBA and then attempting to start a business just quietly. Now again, there's nothing wrong with an MBA, but personally I think they're a complete and utter waste of time for somebody like me who learns by doing. And as I mentioned, the people that I know that have been most successful in building businesses almost unanimously do not have MBAs. Instead, they have experience in actual business. What tends to happen when people get a qualification such as an MBA is it puts them in a little box. It's very difficult to get out of that box. You try something different. Oh, no, my MBA didn't say that. Do something different. No, that wasn't in my MBA. Can't do that. No. This needs to be this way. This needs to be this way. This is how you do it. This is exactly how things need to be. There's no other way of doing things. Speaking of boxing oneself in, big congratulations to all of the value investors out there who looked at Tesla stock, realized it didn't fit into their box, freaked the fuck out, and stayed the hell away from the stock because it didn't do what it was supposed to. It didn't look like it was supposed to, and therefore it was a terrible investment.
So if the product is good, presumably the profits follow rather than profits being involved versus profits. And
yeah, sometimes people sort of have it backwards, and if people are getting sort of the incentive structure is coming from the financial side of things. I don't know. I just earnestly would recommend to anyone listening that just spend less time in meeting rooms, less time on PowerPoint presentations, less time on a spreadsheet, and more time on the factory floor, more time with customers. And obviously a lot of people out there are already doing that, but I would just urge people to say like, hey, step back a second and say, is your product as awesome as it could be? Probably not. What could you do to make it great? And if you like think about innovation, like maybe it has to be like breakthrough innovation. I don't think it necessarily has to be breakthrough innovation. It's just just make your product better. This is the thing that really matters.
Oh, Elon, you're so crazy. Make your product better. What, are you high again, dude? As if that's going to be a good idea in business. Come on, man. That's not in my MBA.
You look for innovative people when you hire them. Is it something that is pretty easily learnable, or is there some innate quality in the people that succeed?
I think it is learnable. I mean, step number one would be try. and have you tried? And have you tried hard? And if you haven't tried hard, try hard. I think it is learnable. It's not some mysterious thing. It's just basically just be like an absolute perfectionist about the product that you make, the service that's provided. Seek negative feedback from all quarters. From customers, from people who aren't customers, like, hey, okay, what can we make this? How can we make this better? And I think it's absolutely learnable. And just if you find yourself spending a lot of time in getting presentations and reviewing spreadsheets, you're barking up the wrong tree. That's the effect, not the cause. So just get out there on the factory floor. Get out there in the stores, talk to customers, think about what would you love to have. Oh, and sometimes I think, and I've had this conversation at Tesla a few times, where it's like we're trying to think, okay, at times like we don't love this product, but we think others will love it. That's not really how it works. If you don't love it, don't expect others will either.
It's kind of embarrassing that Elon is stating such obvious truths, and yet when you look around at the companies that are attempting, and I use the word attempting, to compete with Tesla, and you discover that they're releasing nothing but polished turds. I mean, do you really think the people at those companies look at a Model 3 or a Model S, then look at the steaming pile of shit that they've produced as an EV and think, yeah, I love this product, it's way better than the Tesla, obviously our customers are going to love it too? Yeah, it doesn't work like that. And in fact, this even applies to people and personal relationships. Think about this for a moment. Do you find a person attractive who hates themselves, self-loathing, who really thinks they're a piece of shit, they're totally worthless, they have no self-esteem and no value to offer other people? Now, maybe I'm crazy, but I find that absolutely repulsive. And I find the opposite intensely attractive. Maybe that's just me. The point I'm making here is if you don't love yourself, why would anyone else? And the same thing applies to products. If you don't love the product you make, why would you expect somebody else to love it?
On your own journey in this way, what are the biggest mistakes you've made that you've learned from? Because you talked a little bit about being willing to put yourself out there, fail, learn, keep growing. What were turning points for you that really you said, wait a minute, this is wrong, or this is the wrong move, either personally or for the company, and that you learned from that have fed to where you are right now?
Well, if I had to list all the mistakes, this would be a very long call. So too many to even think of. I'm trying to think like how could I classify them in some way? Well, I mean, some of the things I mentioned just before, it's like where I was recommending that people spend less time in a conference room, less time getting presentations and spreadsheets, and that, like, generally that's like when I have spent too much time in a conference room, that's generally when things have gone awry. And when I go and spend time on the factory floor, or really using the cars, thinking about the rockets, it's like that's where things have gone better.
But does that risk? Some people would worry that risks sending a message to your teams that you personally have to be involved for something to work, that you can't delegate or you can't trust them. And I think that's one thing that makes some executives reluctant. They're trying to find that line between showing their personal commitment and trusting their subordinates to do the work. So, yeah, I mean, you're known for being passionate, sleep on the factory floor and all that. But is that a concern for you, or do you not care? That's not an issue for you. How do you think about it?
Well, there's a lot of talented people at SpaceX and Tesla, and I think the morale is good. I for sure respect them greatly, and it's an honor to work with them. And I find that if I am engrossed in the details of the issues, this does not result in them feeling better, or worse, but feeling better. Like they're in my experience, more energized. It's like, think about like war. It's like, do you want the general in some ivory tower or on the front lines? Like, the troops are gonna fight a lot harder if they see the general on the front lines than if they think generals, in some cushy situation. So it's like nobody bleeds for the prince in the palace. Get out there on the goddamn front lines and show them that you care and that you're not just in some plush office somewhere.
Kind of obvious, yet rarely seen. I'm sure many of you watching will be able to relate to a situation where you've been working for an employer and your boss, under your impression from your perspective, didn't really seem to be putting him or herself on the front lines with the troops. Wasn't staying back and working late when the rest of the office wasn't getting into work as early as everybody else was, something along those lines. Maybe drove into work with a brand new Porsche after a great year and then gave everybody a Merry Christmas card and a $5 chocolate as a thank you for the great performance and the $1 million profit for the business for the year, something along those lines. Of course, how likely is it that you're really going to put yourself out there and work your face off for this person who you now believe to be up in an ivory tower, not really pulling their own weight? When the reverse is true, when you'll see your general out there on the front line, sleeping on the factory floor, working their face off, solving problems hands-on, whatever it takes, you're much more likely, generally speaking, to be willing to go the extra mile for this general, right?
Let's talk quickly about Tesla. But both Tesla and SpaceX are scaling up. Today, in fact, Tesla touched $600 billion, I think, yesterday in valuation. Today, you said you're going to raise $5 billion through new stock sales. I assume what those gains are really, in your mind, going to do is help you scale up faster, be poured back into investment, because now is the moment to do that. Is that the plan here?
Yeah, I guess there's, we're kind of debating, like, should we raise money or should we not? It wasn't like a 100% sure thing. In the end, we thought, well, we can retire a lot of the debt and increase the security of the company, probably a good thing. And for less than 1% of dilutions, probably makes sense. But we're neither here nor there on that. I think it could have gone either way.
Good to get a little bit of clarity there from Elon Musk as to why Tesla raised this $5 billion, potentially raised up to $5 billion in selling stock recently. Obviously, they didn't need the money. Obviously, this wasn't like, yes, we must do this. This was more of like, well, the stock's kind of ridiculously high at the moment. You want to raise another $5 billion? We don't need it, but hey, it's $5 billion bucks. Get rid of some of our debt, build up a war chest. Why the hell not? So I hope you guys have found this video insightful. Really gives some key insights into how and why Tesla and SpaceX are really dominating their respective industries. Spending more time on things that matter, such as making your product better, and spending less time on things that don't matter, like pleasing the numbnuts on Wall Street. I'm Stephen Mark Ryan. This is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. And don't forget, if you live in the US and you'd like to help out the channel and get up to 4 free stocks, check out the link in the description to WeBull. If you open a new account, you'll get 2 free stocks between $2.50 and $250 each just for opening an account. And if you deposit $100, you'll get a further 2 free stocks valued between $8 and $1,600 each. And if you're in Australia, the UK or New Zealand, you can get a free stock with stake also using the link in the description. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, if you have any ideas for future videos, let me know. I read all your comments. PS, if you're still watching, you're awesome. If you'd like early access, exclusive videos, regular Q&As, our private Discord server and more, consider supporting the channel at patreon.com/solvingthemoneyproblem so I can keep creating content for you guys. There's a link in the description. You can now also become a member of the channel for some exclusive perks. To learn more, click the join button next to subscribe. And don't forget to check out our merch store. Either way, the best form of support is you being here and watching, so thanks again.